Howdy, partner.
Oh, howdy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm swell today. Yeah.
Wow, that's
I'm swell. I'm I was gonna try and make like a cowboy remark, but I also know that I'm doing
the opposite of a cowboy remark.
I know. I'm doing mighty fine.
Doing mighty fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing just good. Lord had mercy on me today.
Yeah.
I was listening to this podcast that my mate sent me. It's called Dolly Parton's America.
Okay. Is she actually the one who does the podcast, or is that just the name of the podcast?
It's the name of the podcast, but there are she speaks in it, but it's like interview style.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really good. I rate it really hard.
Is that new?
Yeah. It's
all
new.
right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to check it out.
I'm doing a lot better than you. Do you want to tell everyone, all of our friends here, what happened to you again?
Well, for the second time, I've gotten the Rona, and it just randomly hit me on a Tuesday, and it obviously shooting weddings and events at some point. It's going to happen.
It is.
It's been almost a year since the first time I got it. So it's kind of impressive considering how much I've been out and in public. Oh man, this time around I had some aches and stuff in my muscles and things, and I'm still a bit sniffly. So I sound sniffly.
And you're not going to sound sniffly because I'm going to edit it out. When you told me that you had it, I had a Boom Boom Pow reference. You're so 2000 and late. I'm so 3008. I got that boom, boom, boom. So, the Black Eyed Peas?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to be like, you're 2019 and I'm 2023.
This is the rare occasion where I'm just,
yeah.
You tried. You tried.
746 You are listening to The Laughing Skulls.
Just sit back and relax.
There was a point in time when the friendship was in a bit of a shambles because you kept on doing puns and I was ready to just pull the plug. So
oof. I feel like that's the first time I'm hearing this. So
sorry, mate.
That's really hot.
Oh, please. There was also someone on our TikTok that said, I really love your energy, and I was this close from not saying, oh yeah, she's all right. She's a bit of a mole, but I love her. But I didn't say it. But I was gonna be like,
I wouldn't be offended. It's funny.
I know that you wouldn't be offended, but I don't know whether people don't get our humor properly.
And they also
she's a mole.
They might have gotten offended on my behalf.
Yeah,
I get you.
But she's not.
Yeah, it happens.
She's a sicko.
Fully sick. I appreciate it.
She's a fully sick husband.
Speaking of getting offended, Esther, that was perfect.
Thanks.
A lot of people have been getting sort of offended by Cole Sprouse lately.
Oh, the cigar one. It's like a very long. He's like, when I saw those TikToks that you went and sent me, it was like, it was the cigarette that he was smoking. It was so indie.
It looked ridiculous, dude. It looked like, what are those fad sticks? It looked like a fad. Those candies.
Yeah, it did.
Like 3 times the length.
It looked like when you were in school and you were wrapping up the paper. And then
oh man,
Habib, that's enough. I wanted to get him a coffee the way that he was lounging about on that
espresso. An espresso, not just a coffee. I'm sure he would request an espresso.
He would request an espresso.
I don't like this. It makes me angry slightly.
Or do you think or he would call it an espresso, but then he would feel superior because he was having just like really, really small, and that's how you were supposed to have coffee with the froth.
Yes.
You know, no, what is it? With the
cream.
crema, with the
Cream.
crema. Yeah.
Vibes. Look, I feel like he was very pretentious throughout this interview, just with the attitude and like the presence and the articulation. I feel like even he would say that.
His vocabulary was really nice though. It was like it was good
quite
though.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do, go out of their way to
they're not able to articulate it the way that he did.
True. But I did. So people are sort of up in arms about the way that he came out and said that all of his exes had cheated on him, all of them emotionally cheated, bar one who physically cheated. And then he like proceeded to, it felt like to a lot of people that he sort of blamed Lily Reinhart for the demise of their relationship and, the fact that they were so damaged and blah, blah, blah. And he had to make it really clear that he was the one that left. And he said that had he loved himself a bit more, he would have done it sooner. But then he proceeded to say, and this is what I find interesting, is that they're both really good friends today because they have to work together, right? And I'm like,
I felt like that he had to say that.
It sort of felt that way. I wanted to ask you, right? So if you heard your ex go and say that on a show and be like, I left her because, it was just like if I loved myself, I would have left earlier, but we're really great friends now. What? Like, I don't know. What do you think about that?
So if I had said that or if I was Lily?
If you were Lily.
I think that I would have the shits. Honestly, I would have the shits, especially being on that public domain.
Yeah.
Don't air out the dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Especially if you guys are in such close proximity, A. B, it's too soon. I feel like that if you're talking about like Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, who, they were together for a really long time.
But like a decade ago or something.
It was a really long time ago, whereas the show's still happening. There's going to be tension. Nah, I'd have the shits real hard.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that honestly, not Jughead, but that was a shithead thing to do.
Hot take. No, that was great. That was good.
No, but it is like he's just being a bit of a shithead. I think that he took this moment and he looked very like, I'm not shitting on him, but I feel like that his demeanor was quite like, I have the power to just say what I want, and Lily isn't here to defend herself, and she will defend herself after the fact.
Yeah.
But whose word are you going to take about him saying, I just needed to love myself more, where I don't think it even came out.
I don't know.
I don't think it came out about what happened.
I honestly, I don't think we have the full info on anything.
But I think also when they make it that vague, you have that agreement. It's a very unspoken agreement. You just gotta kind of keep it there. You keep it there.
Yeah, I would not actively, and if I was still working with this person and I claim to still be really close friends with them, whilst apparently in a relationship in the present moment with somebody else, which is a bit, I think unfair or like a bit disrespectful to go into that much depth. But I just feel like there would be no need to really, air out the dirty laundry and be like, oh, but I was on the left, by the way.
I wish that I loved myself. I wish that I loved myself. But it was just like, if I loved myself more, I would have left. Like that's how it kind of felt. Like it was like I needed to click. It was like one of those jazz clubs. I'm so sorry, Cole. It's not a sweet life anymore.
It's not a sweet life anymore.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I knew that I was going to love your hot take on this.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we agree. Of course we agree.
Well, yeah, like I'm not, like I don't want to sit there and like look like a shit, I'm not going to sit there and like do that to my exes. Like even like now we're not famous or anything or like on like a platform, but like I'm not going to sit there and like publicly shame my ex.
Yeah.
In that regard, in that space, I'm sure in the previous episode, someone will point out, yeah, but you went and called her garbage because she was. But
no, like private, intimate details or being specific about situations.
And emotionally cheating and those sort of things, no. Yeah.
All right, cool beans. Cool beans, my friend.
Cool beans. Oh, wait, what do you call it? Swag.
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 Oh, yeah, so bring it back to swag.
Swag.
I appreciate that.
I'll name the episode. All right, swag.
All right, the Brenaissance.
Brenaissance.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah. Did you want to go and give a little introduction to this very, very special episode on Oscars week?
Yes, because it's Oscars week, man.
It is Oscars week. You guys, like, ever since, like, for everyone that is listening, so I've come in to the fold of the friend group that 80's in, and they are just absolute movie buffs. I have never met bigger movie people in my life.
Really?
No.
We take the cake?
You guys are the chocolate chip muffin. Honest
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
Honest to God. You guys take like an annual leave day for the Oscars.
That's true. And I have done it multiple times.
You have.
And I really, look, for this coming Oscars day, I did not expect our entire group to do that, but they did.
Yes.
Literally everybody has taken their day off, whoever had to. So I'm really impressed and quite honored. It's going to be a great day. We all do voting ballots.
Yes.
We often have a pool, like a betting pool, and then we all scream and jump up and down and, eat during the whole thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I still haven't made a costume though, or like thought of one. So we'll see, because the theme was basically like come dressed as anything relating to any nominated film.
Oh my God, you should do Avatar.
No.
Just blue. I'm sure
that is too much effort. Okay, it's almost as much effort as having to make myself sit through that movie ever again. Either number 1 or 2.
I haven't watched number 2. I haven't blessed my eyes yet with number 2.
Yeah, look, it's visually pretty, but it's the exact same script. It's the same thing.
Oh.
You are not going to be shocked or surprised by anything in that film. Let me tell you that.
Is there that like 15 minutes of like unnecessarily inserted action?
Look, I think the whole thing goes for 3 hours, right? Realistically,
3 hours?
Yeah, it's nearly 3 hours.
Oh,
you could have condensed it into 15 minutes and just like done a super cut of every like 10 seconds that very slightly moves the plot to where it's got to go, which is,
I was like,
and I've said this.
No. How could you?
Humans are bad for the environment. How dare they invade us and kill our people?
Water.
Oh no.
Water. Oh no, I need to go and jump on this flying thing with my hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's team up and defeat the bad guys. Oh, bad guys defeated. Done. I remember I was saying we just did the whole movie.
You were so we were like the Cliff Notes of Avatar.
We are the Cliff Notes, Spark Notes. Do you remember that?
Spark Notes. What's that? What was that other one? No Fear Shakespeare.
We are the No Fear Shakespeare for Avatar.
You're welcome.
We are on a roll today.
We really are.
Matching moments.
I remember when the first Avatar came out and I was in Greece. I was visiting my cousins.
Did you go and watch it in Greek?
No, it's in English with Greek subtitles.
Okay.
But there was this guy and we watched it 3 times. Mind you, when did it come out? Like 2008?
You saw it 3 times while you were over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a problem?
That's just a lot of time to spend on one movie.
We were young though.
While you're overseas. Okay.
Yeah, but we were there for like 5 weeks.
Okay.
And we were there purely to go and visit my cousins.
Okay.
Anyways, when I was there, and also I realized when I was over there, they've got like nachos, they've got hot dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the cinema has full-on food, right?
Yeah, but like I actually don't like it. I'm like a straight popcorn gal, straight chopped up.
Yeah, straight chopped up, straight Slurpee.
What's the chopped up of choice?
Boysenberry.
Boysenberry.
Always I'm a boysenberry bitch.
A woo-woo. I'm a bit of like a caramel.
I knew you were going to say salted caramel. I knew it. I don't know why. I just did. Not that it's bad. I
actually like boysenberry. Like that's like my second option.
It's so underrated.
I love me a berry.
Yeah, berries and ice cream. It's a combo made in heaven. It's timeless.
It is. So when I was in the cinema, there was a guy next to me eating a hot dog, and then he gets a call and he goes, mate, I can't, mind you, I'm saying it in an accent, but he was saying it in Greek.
Yeah.
Mate, I can't talk right now. I'm watching Avatar. Can you believe Avatar? Okay, bye. That has been ingrained in my brain since 2008, if you can understand.
Oh, can you say it in Greek?
Ρε, δεν μπορώ να μιλάω τώρα. Avatar είναι. Avatar. Είμαι μέσα στο σινεμά. Στο Avatar είμαι. Yeah. Done. Like, honestly.
Oh, he was that excited. That's very cute.
He was so excited, and he was just like pumped about it. That must have been his third time as well.
Honestly, I'd love to see him today seeing the second one. Like, is he just as excited today? Oh my God.
It's super cool. You know,
what a
like,
cutie pie. Shout out. What a sweetheart.
Shout out to that guy in 2008 in the cinema in Athens, bro. Fuck yeah. Well, I was actually going to say for this week, we're actually talking about one of the nominees for Best Picture
and Best Actor.
Is he?
Yes, he's nominated for a Best Actor Academy Award the first time in his career.
Old mate better win.
Honestly, look, we will talk about who we think's going to win eventually, like later. But
you don't think he's going to win?
I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it because I have a few predictions about this.
Okay.
But we are talking about the 90s and noughties king. One of the kings of our childhoods.
King.
Who has made, and he will say it's not a comeback, it's just a reintroduction.
Who's the king?
Oh, it is the one and only Brendan Fraser.
I am so excited to talk about this.
Me too. And we have to, dub this episode in some way or shape or form the Brenaissance, because I love that term. It is so beautiful and so fitting.
And he deserves it, all of it.
He really does. I mean, God, he has been – I feel like he was always a part of my childhood. Like, there's not really a time when, I don't know, he wasn't around, because I always watched movies all the time, and we would like burn VCRs out from replaying them so many damn times.
Not burning the VCRs.
Pretty much. Like, they would just start to, you could hear them of VCRs. I just realized how old that must make us sound to people.
No. VCRs were actually not that long ago. Let's be real. It's not that long ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not that long. It's not that long ago. It's not like that. We're not talking about
20 years ago
on the gramophone.
20 years ago, I think DVDs just started to come out.
Yeah, it was
we would have been around 9 or 10-ish. What was your fave Brendan Fraser film?
Is it Brendan Fraser?
It's Fraser. This always happens to me, and I hear him introduce his own name.
Yeah.
And I second guess myself. We can just say Brendan. Because I feel like we would be on a first name basis if we knew him.
Oh,
we would be
absolutely.
Friends. Yeah.
Well, for me, it would have been, I feel like the first one that I would have seen would have been the one that drove my mother crazy, which was George of the Jungle, where I remember all the time I used to go, all the time. All the time. All the time.
I can't even tell you how many times we must have watched that film. But my mum had no complaints, because who did not fall in love with that man?
I know.
Gorgeous.
It's not that I fell in love with him, but this was like the first time that I wanted to properly be someone. And I was like, I modeled myself. You know when you watch a movie, and you know when you watch a movie, or no, this wasn't around George necessarily. This was around Rick O'Connell from The Mummy.
Oh God, yes.
And I thought that is exactly who I needed to be.
That's the main character energy you want in your life.
That is exactly what I wanted. And then because you and me, we love The Mummy, as we have said.
I watched it yesterday.
Did you?
Yesterday.
Mate.
Alana and I, my sister and I, collectively, I was sitting at my desk and she was on the couch and I went, what do you want to watch? And she looked at me and I knew. She had the mummy face. And I was like, Mummy. And she was like, number 1, number 2. And I was like, we were both like, number 1.
Number 1, yes.
That's a film that we watch, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the most frequent that we watch. I'd say sometimes monthly.
Yeah.
We watch.
You know, he got his first feature film in 91 with Dogfight and then Encino Man.
Yeah.
But you and I, obviously we weren't born. But
No, we were not.
You and I were 4 years old and George of the Jungle came out. And then when we were 6 years old, that's when The Mummy came out.
I will never forget any of those.
Revolutionary.
Also, I still remember him from Airheads, which was one of his other first films and the only other film he worked on with Adam Sandler. I think maybe later they might have done something else together. But he was like a rock and roll, like a metalhead, like an airhead in that film.
I have seen so many photos about it when I was researching and then just throughout the years, but I haven't watched it. But I always thought, whoa, is that Adam Sandler when he was young?
Right? Oh my God, Adam was so cute too. That was one of the first films I watched. I think that was foreshadowing how much I was going to be attracted to that like metalhead aesthetic.
Yep.
Brendan can pull off every single genre. And
it's so funny because you directed me to you directed me to a podcast called Awards Chatter that had him on there.
Yeah. Obsessed.
And when I was listening to it, and I was so taken aback that he doesn't see himself as comedic.
Right?
But his timing and the way
it's natural
that he enunciates.
Yes. Comedic timing is something that, yes, you can learn, you can improve, but at the end of the day, you got to have that in you because it is hard to do that well. It's hard to just flow or even improvise without that kind of thing going on.
I think that when you're naturally funny, you don't see that you're funny.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Except sometimes in cases like you and I, it's just quite kind of obvious,
It's quite obvious.
Here I go being humble again. Look at me. But I just am like, I've always been obsessed with him. Never not liked him in something, even if the movie wasn't the best. Always loved watching it in
that
him
movie,
in it.
Like Blast from the Past.
Oh my God.
I loved that movie so much. There was something about it where I remember the concept where I forgot who was in it. But all I remember was Christopher Walken, Brendan Fraser, and he was on the ground. But that was in my brain. What a phenomenal
and it stayed
role.
there forever,
Yeah. But I wanted to go back into The Mummy because that for me, and we've discussed this in previous episodes, that was like a sexual awakening for me with Rachel Weisz.
There are memes about this.
There are
memes about this. Yes. It's like my sexual orientation is the Mummy cast.
Oh my God, yes.
It's true. It is
so true. And
everyone is attractive in that movie.
Every single person is attractive.
Okay, Jonathan is a cutie pie.
Look, he's all right. He's okay. But I wanted to be Rick O'Connell so bad.
Dude.
And I don't know whether it was because I was so
attracted to Evie.
Yeah. That I was like, oh, okay, this is the kind of guy that she likes. So that's how I need to be. But also his voice is just this like,
it's great, isn't it?
A wonderful fucking voice. So I want him to like narrate something for me that I would listen to it.
I as well, his outfit. Again,
outfit,
every aesthetic.
What
1920s adventurer.
Yeah, very explorer. It's giving explorer.
It's giving vintage explorer. He has one of my all-time favorite haircuts, which is from that era. You know, like the short sides and the beautiful wisp.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't even. Like, I was in love with him in that film, but also, yes, I do get the wanting to be him at the same time.
Yeah, because he was like, action, and he was fearless, and he was like, Benny, you were on the other side of the river. And he was like,
good.
he was just such an action man. And I really feel like that he influenced the next 20 years of
your life?
What an action star needed to be. What it needed to encompass.
Do you know
That's
what
how I feel.
I loved hearing that when this movie got greenlit and they all agreed to do it, that the director was like, it's like no one knew what genre it was going to be. Because it was like sort of everything mixed into one. And that's, I think, what makes it so iconic is it pulls off all of these genres so perfectly on such a classic old Hollywood epic scale. And and oh God, like
and all the graphics live up to it except for The Rock.
It's okay. We don't talk about
that
one very much.
King, okay, we don't talk about that.
We don't. But I was saying to Alana yesterday, considering the time that's passed, because the animation's a bit outdated.
Yes.
But because it's in a fantastical, universe, it fits. When there's flashbacks of Imhotep looking over the temples and stuff, even though it's very obviously animated, it suits. It looks good.
Especially when there was that huge sandstorm and it was engulfing them and it was in the mouth. Holy shit.
Seriously, oh my God, obsessed.
I remember getting the VHS from Pizza Hut because it had two movies in the one. Mummy 1, Mummy 2. And then I said to my mum, please, we need to get this particular one. We need to have pizza tonight. Tonight. Please, Mum, order me a Supreme. Please,
I remember when you could do things like that. You could get VHSs at Pizza Hut.
God. And he came with that. But then he went on and starred in, which I didn't know was a remake, by the way. It was
which film?
Bedazzled. He co-starred with Liz Hurley.
Yes, God, that's another household favorite.
Yes.
Because we love Liz Hurley in this house. She's such a babe, still a babe.
A babe.
And Brendan, if you don't like him, you're a red flag. There's something wrong.
A red flag. And then again, I think, do you know when last week we were talking about my Narcos Pablo Escobar aesthetic that I like? Remember in Bedazzled, and he was like that drug lord with the long curly hair, and he goes, "Oh, come on!" Like,
did you also enjoy that?
I loved it. I thought that it was so cool, but I
just you were clearly like Lord in another life, or something like that.
I think so. But I will say, Allison, the lady who plays Allison, not to offend, sorry to offend, she wasn't that hot to sit there and get wishes granted from the devil. Like, and she was so ungrateful on top of that. So I was like, you know what?
It's really bittersweet. We will keep our king. I agree with you there. I never got it. I didn't really understand it. She was way too girl next door. It's the Bella and Edward. I'm so sorry, but I do not understand why Bella is your personal brand of heroine. Don't buy it for a second.
Do you know what I think?
What?
By proximity.
Elaborate.
In the small town of Forks, how many hot chicks are there?
Yeah.
That aren't your sister Edward? How many? I'm just saying, same as Jacob. How many hot chicks are there? Huh? None by the beach? Huh?
You're right.
The aunts in. Come on, bro. I'm just
saying.
You're
absolutely right.
It's like when you're in a workplace or you're at a party and
decent-looking person.
One decent-looking one that is up by 70%. Sorry, she was hot by proximity, but she's not that hot. If you put her in a room with other people that are hot, then she's nothing. It's
fully
like when
get
you're
you.
going out at like a Halloween party and there's that one, just like when we went to the Shrek rave, 3 blind mice.
Yeah.
That was hot.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
And you go, oh man, she looks really hot, but Take her out of that. She's not.
I get you.
She's all right. She's
Like
decent.
it.
She's a 6, you know? She's all
mean,
right.
it's true.
She's a 6.
Yeah.
But Bella Swan, like, I don't know. She's not that great. You know? I don't know. Edward. You know, like, that's all I'm saying.
But back to Bedazzled.
Sorry.
Great movie. Great.
Phenomenal movie.
So underrated.
Amazing
insanely
movie.
underrated.
I watched it the other week.
Oh, because it's
Holds
on
up.
somewhere. Someone has it right now. I saw it on a streaming service.
It's on Stan, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Stan.
Okay.
I rate it so hard.
We did have the DVD, and then I did a big cull. And I think I might have sold it in a garage sale because I was like, oh, I could just get this maybe on Blu-ray or something like another time.
I
do have to
got the
rewatch it.
Mummy VHSs.
You do?
Yeah, I do. But can we also talk about the Mummy 3? No, Mummy 3,
Okay.
first of all. Mummy 4, I don't like to acknowledge them. So Mummy 3, it's like the Godfather number 3. I don't like to acknowledge it.
Nobody does.
So the
does.
Mummy 3, they replaced Rachel Weisz because I think she was pregnant at the time. I get that. But the woman who they replaced her with, her name
Wait
is,
for her, bro. Then just wait.
right?
Wait like
It wasn't that great
year.
of a movie to rush the production.
No.
And the chemistry between them two, disgusting.
All I remember about that film, I don't even know if we went to the cinema. I don't remember if we rented it. But
I went to the cinema for it, and our friend of the pod, Sam, did. Sam and I went. We were like, what the fuck?
I just remember, I think there was some point where they got into some street chase. And I knew in that
I think
moment,
they were in China, I think.
Yes, and they were trying so hard to like up the ante and really cover up the fact that they're missing some of the biggest parts of the heart and soul of that film.
Yes.
You can't replace Rachel.
No.
You cannot do it.
No.
And
that
it's
chemistry
also
that she shared with him, you can't
unbelievable.
replicate that.
And then to just like kill off the character entirely to potentially jeopardize any future sequels, which it's fine because we know that there's a Book of the Dead loophole and all that stuff. But you know what? It's actually unfair because then this new actress cops all this shit and all she's doing is just trying to do her job. And she's only going to get compared and like ripped to shreds when it's not really her fault. It was a poor script. Just a bad idea in general.
That's
or you know what?
was.
Don't have the love interest aspect at all. If you really had to kill her off and you really had to push this movie out, make it like an adventure between him and his son.
Yes,
That's
I would
just
have
as
rather
good.
she died. Absolutely. Or like she had to do something and that's why she wasn't in the movie or something. But that's also
just
then
anything
where
else.
you go to the Mummy 4.
No. We do not count that one in this
Okay,
trilogy.
then we don't count that.
We don't count it. It's its own thing. So I think even Tom Cruise sort of explained it. You can tell he wanted to use the name to already tap into an audience, like a massive legion of fans.
Okay.
God, that thing was fucking horrible.
It was disgusting.
My mum and I were going to walk out. But then we looked at the ticket ending time or whatever. And I think we had 20 minutes left. And we were like, look.
Fine.
We'll write it out. But that for me was one of the worst, most forgettable movies. And how dare they take on that franchise name?
And also like without him though too. Without Rick. Are you joking me?
Are you joking me?
Is this a joke? I didn't pay my ticket for this joke. Is this a comedy? Because I'm being played right now. I didn't know that we're playing games.
Honestly, it is so bad. I repressed that film out of that was the worst film of that year for me. Mad respect to Tom Cruise. He is one of the greatest filmmakers in history for a reason. He? Yes, he is. And that's a whole other deep dive. But this choice was bad. Nothing was good. And because he does have like a bit of an ego clause in his contract, right? Like for example, from memory in his contract, it states for any film he's in, he must comprise 80% of the movie poster. So these are things like that, right? So like when he's the hero, he has to have X amount of action sequences, X amount of running time, or like whatever. So all of that stuff you could see in that movie took precedence over the story, over anything else that needed soul in it. Like he took over it.
I can't with you, honestly.
You know what? Even if he had just sucked up his pride and produced another Mummy and made Ardeth, who's my almost equal hottie in the Mummy, you know, what's his name? His real name is Oded Fahir, I think maybe.
Oh,
Fair.
yep.
You know, the yellow MC, the hot guy on the stallion.
Yeah.
Give him an origin story. Why don't we do something like that? Like,
because they've got a whole backstory. Like him and his like army. That's a whole backstory.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do it.
Or a Nuxunamun and Emotep's love story.
Love story. Yes.
Give us some. If you're gonna piggyback
we should
on the
just
name,
make the movie copyright
give
license.
us the right. Honestly, if you're gonna, dupe fans like that, just don't do it.
Do it properly, mate, or just don't do it at all. I'm sure there's another Mission Impossible you could have made.
Yeah, I think they're coming up to 45 now. So honestly, there's plenty of material elsewhere if you're gonna touch out one of the best series of all time.
Yes.
Oh, gets my blood pumping. That does. So we all know as well that from 2007 to about 2016, he went almost MIA.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people are talking about this as a comeback now, just because he disappeared from the mainstream, because he went from being one of the highest grossing box office stars to it felt like he was completely gone.
Yeah, I think he was just doing TV parts and
yes,
just getting by if you would call it like that. Yeah.
Like he was still working, but it wasn't anything crazy. Like I know that he did a season or two on that show called The Divorce, and then he had some other random sort of spots on other things, but at that time he was going through so much. This is almost like a Keanu Reeves just level of non-stop crap. Like divorce, his mum passed away, he was exhausted, and as he has mentioned before, he copped a lot of injuries by doing a lot of his own stunts. And this is why now people are really, really strict. And I learned in acting school, when actors say that they did their stunts, most of the time it's a lie, because the insurance is just too much of a risk. And you can lose millions and millions and millions of dollars from, even 2 days of having to recover from something on set. But he was going during that time and doing things like in Airheads, they did a jumping off of a stage, which he actually referenced he and Adam Sandler got injured doing because they just wanted to, because it was cool and seemed fun.
Yeah, even in Dogfight, they were saying that he cracked a rib and he was fine with it because he got an extra $50 because of it, and he was like, "I'll just do it again and it's fine."
Yeah.
And then even with the Mummy 3 in George of the Jungle, he just kept on saying that he was made of ice packs and pads and tape just made of him because he was just in so much pain all the time.
Yeah, and I remember him saying as well, because he's so tall. And Alana looked this up yesterday while we were watching The Mummy. Because we were like, I know he's tall, but how tall is he? He's 6'3". So he's about 2 meters tall.
Yeah.
And doing things like jumping off of, high places and all of that stuff is going to take a massive toll on your
even with
everything.
George of the Jungle, it's I kind of take tall people to be like Great Danes. You got to look after your joints and stuff a little bit more. You know?
Yeah.
You've just got to go look after that. And even with when you had George of the Jungle or The Mummy or Bedazzled, he was doing a lot of falling. This man, a lot of falling, a lot of running, a lot of
we were falling
work.
for him. He was literally falling. Yeah.
Fall for you.
Oh my God.
And when I was reading this and I was researching, it really, really it made my own back hurt as I've got.
Really?
Yeah, because he said that he got a laminectomy.
What is that?
So it's repairing the spine. So in the spine. So it's got to do
that would be so painful.
Yeah. So it's got to do with repairing the spine. That is a very, very painful thing to go through, and even just the recovery time, painful. And especially when I heard about that he also had a surgery to repair his vocal cords.
And I feel like in this recent like awards roundtables and interviews and stuff, in the beginning of him doing promo for The Whale, because I guess it was his most mainstream stuff since the other things we're going to go into in a minute that he went through. But I noticed that his voice was so different. I don't know. Like it sounded like something was definitely off. And then in that awards chatter interview, that's the best and most normal flowing sounding he's sounded this entire time of every interview I've watched with him.
Because he was even saying that he was in and out of hospital for almost 7 years, and holy shit.
Then after the Me Too movement comes along, which started like ages ago in 2006, as I've learned from you, then social media, it exploded again in 2017. A year after that massive cataclysmic moment in that movement, Brendan comes out in an interview with GQ, and he said that Philip Burke, who used to be the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which is a board that manages and runs pretty much like every major awards show that there is.
Yeah.
He sexually assaulted him in 2003 at a luncheon at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Obviously, Burke denies it. He did resign, I believe, not too long after Brendan came out and said this. Yeah,
Really?
He is no longer on the board. I am dead set of that. Which to me just tell me you're guilty without telling me you're guilty.
I'm really happy that he had the courage to do that, because not a lot of men do.
Yeah.
I remember listening, and he was saying that he felt like the HFPA had blacklisted him following that incident, and he didn't know if it was because of the disfavor of the group, but he just felt like the silence without the support was really deafening, and that he didn't get invited back to the Globes after 2003. So I feel like that, as he said, the silence is deafening.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly how it would feel. Also, I just quickly got confirmation on Philip Burke. So he, on the 20th of April 2021, which was not that long ago, he was effective immediately expelled from the HFPA. So the board fired him.
Wow.
And I just there were other controversies that surrounded this guy, including an open email or something like that he sent to other members of the HFPA about how Black Lives Matter was a racist hate movement and stuff, just stupid shit, right?
Oh, okay.
So I feel like it sucks that this person has done so much damage, and it's only taken up until that not very long ago to have this guy expelled. But he seems like an absolute piece of shit.
Yes.
So yeah, that is the update with that guy.
Thank you so much.
At least there's some justice in some small way there. But poor Brendan, having to, and as an Hollywood leading man who has been painted in such a heroic kind of light for many years of your life, to come out after all of this stuff happening and then make that claim, which is going to help you no further in your career.
Yeah, it really is like a kick him while I'm down. I'm going to also go and say this because I don't have anything more to lose.
Exactly. I think that also speaks volumes when people have the courage to do that and they've got nothing left. What good is it going to serve them if they're,
Yeah. Because then after that,
I
guess it did kind of help him. He was able to come back.
Yes. And he didn't have to hide that fact.
And that's when the Brenaissance began.
Yes,
where he had even been cast in a film of Batgirl. It didn't go through.
Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much I am so sad just because we don't get to see him as a villain.
As a villain, right? But there's something about his voice that makes me feel like I can't see him as a villain.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know. I think his voice is very very good guy.
Yeah. Look, even as he said, it's money issues most of the time. So they did complete the film. I hope one day they decide to release it for some reason or another. Maybe it'll get leaked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they even finished filming it though, eh?
I thought that they did. I thought that they pretty much, they completed it and everything, and then they just handed it.
Because he was going to be Firefly, and I looked up the costume. Oh,
I actually haven't seen the costume.
It looked like a little hornet. It looked like a hornet, you know?
What?
Yeah, look up Firefly.
Did you like it? Like, did you like the outfit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, it's no OG Spider-Man Goblin. But it'll do, you know. I thought that the
I can see.
From Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire version, that was a goat of a villain.
Yeah.
William Dafoe, goat of being a villain.
Honestly, he was amazing.
That motherfucker would scare the shit out of me.
Right? But one day I hope we get to see something from it because that's so sick. Like, he has such an eclectic and like varied range as an actor. He can do everything.
Brendan Fraser is like, get a man that has range.
Yeah.
If he wanted to, he would. That's the kind of man that Brendan Fraser gives me. And then I remember reading the GQ article and he's got the sweetest photo of him and his horse sharing a fucking carrot.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is so sweet with his little cowboy hat, which makes me go, oh my God, Brendan Fraser's a yeehaw, and I love it.
He is.
You know?
He's a little yeehaw. And
he's a little yee.
Honestly, he is. Just a beautiful guy. And then now he's getting all of this praise, and rightfully so, for The Whale.
You went and watched The Whale, eh?
I did. I saw it in the cinema. You know what? This is one of those films that I shed a tear, but it didn't break me fully like I thought it was gonna.
Okay.
It's just very claustrophobic, very suffocating, very heavy film, and it is in one location. It's in his house, like the entire movie. His acting is just... It is career defining. It's phenomenal. I think they filmed this in something like 38 days. Like, it was a really quick shoot.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So he just had to stay in this mindset. And then they had theater-like rehearsal period for 3 weeks, which is unheard of. Most films do not get any rehearsal time at all. Like, a lot of people think that you get your script, you spend a couple of months maybe like reading it, blocking things. No. A lot of the time, day one, you learn your lines, that actor learns their lines. You don't run through it. You just bring it to the table.
Okay.
Which is really interesting. So Darren Aronofsky, the director, wanted them to have this time to explore, find things, build their character, make their mistakes, like do all that kind of stuff, so then they can just bring all their A game and everything straight through filming, and you can feel it. He is phenomenal. And see, about with the Oscars thing, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty certain he was going to take it home this year.
Yeah.
And Austin Butler is my equal favorite to win. They both put in a lot of amazing work. They did so well. You don't see them at all in these films. You just see the character. But now, they are both so good that if it was me on the board.
Such different movies as well.
Very different. Austin spent 3 years in character for that. If you listen to his Hollywood Reporter interview, your jaw will be on the floor. It is insane. But because they're both equally as good, and it's only happened, I think, once in Academy history, 2 people have gotten the Best Actor Oscar. It was a tie.
Interesting.
I think, and I know that the Oscars love a bit of some drama, like for that year, and some things have to be planted, or like at least someone knows they're gonna throw in there. I would love if that happened for the first time in however many years, because they are both, and I rarely will say this, but they're on par. I can't say, I really couldn't. Like, if it's like, who would you save off of a cliff? I'll hurl myself over, because they are that good.
Okay, so it's really hard because I haven't watched either films, but I love Baz Luhrmann.
I love him, man.
I think I love Baz Luhrmann. So in saying that, I would rather Elvis win Best Picture and The Whale acting. I think that also with the short turnaround time. Yeah. Yes, you committed for 3 years, but you also got 3 years where he got 3 weeks and he was able to produce this film.
I know. Like, honestly, they are both super equal. in different ways. With Brendan, and I've mentioned this before, how so they had a 3D printer help design the suit because they no longer have to put actors in those casts anymore, which is really crazy because that saves you. Like, imagine that would kind of suck having to sit there for like 4 hours in a cast. Ugh, that would be so shit. They weighted that suit down because Brendan was like, it has to be real. Like, I have to really feel this weight accurately instead of it being like a hollow suit.
Yes.
And I feel like doing that, as well as, you know, you're trying to remember like what the character's feeling, you're being present, you're listening, you're being emotive, but then you're also playing physical pain.
I would also say like he would really get that from his previous injuries, and also kudos to him though for wanting to wear that suit and really feel the anguish that came with it.
Yes.
Because I also think that there is such a
stigma?
A stigma, yeah. That there is such a stigma around curvy people.
Yeah.
That it's to the point where it's just disgusting. And they don't see them as humans. They see them as lazy.
I was just about to say exactly what you just said.
Yes.
And seeing people not as human.
Not as human, yeah.
Oh, God. I have had fights with people about this before. And you can hear it. And I do recommend people really go and listen to Brendan talk about this.
Yeah.
It pains me. One thing I really, really love about this film too, that Darren Aronofsky often does with his characters and with his stories, is that he is very open about the fact that no one is perfect in this life. Everyone, even in The Whale, his character has villainous aspects. None of that has anything to do with being overweight or anything at all. It's literally like a
characteristic.
The real villain is like the trauma that he had to go through. And then that made him do some bad things, or he made bad choices that then inflicted trauma, and then that was a byproduct. Like, some people really demonize and dehumanize people who have any extra weight because they're insanely insecure themselves, super judgmental, narcissistic, you know, you name it. Oh my God. Like, it's so, before you see the film, obviously his weight is a huge part of it. And you sort of have an idea in your head of like, okay, this is probably what it's going to be like. But it's so much more than that, which I like, is the curveball that gets thrown, I think, at a lot of people's faces more than they anticipate. So that's my hot take on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, because the other one that I wanted to say was I watched finally Wakanda Forever.
I still haven't seen
Disney
it.
Plus.
I need to get Disney Plus back. This is my sign. Okay.
This is something where I will say this. I'm going to say this. Black Panther, if there was no other Marvel movies outside of Black Panther's story, I'm happy.
Okay, you're a super fan.
I don't really give a shit about every other one, to be honest. I love Thor.
Yeah.
But every other Avenger, I don't really give a shit. I think that Black Panther is the most interesting out of them all. One. But also, I know, I love that lately. All I keep on doing is counting. And there was a time when
you are really good at it.
There was a time when all I did was saying, okay, so A, 2. I think it's so interesting. I think the soundtrack's phenomenal. I remember being in the gym and I would pump the Black Panther front to back. There is nothing like a well-rounded soundtrack that goes with it. And also, I wanted to just give a very, very quick fucking whiff. It's called Black Earth Rising.
Black Earth Rising.
Earth Rising. And originally it was from the lead actress in Chewing Gum. I don't know whether you ever watched it. Her name is Michaela Cole.
Yeah, I know. I have seen so many clips of that show. I feel like I've almost watched it.
Yes.
I started watching it a few years ago, and it was in the midst of, I don't know what else I was watching, but I was trying to watch it at the same time as something else. So I only got a few eps in.
So
but
people who don't know what chewing gum is, I would probably say it's in the same vein as Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I still haven't seen that, but I know what you mean.
Comedic timing.
Yeah.
This show captivated me from the very, very beginning. Why? Because it's from a child who survived the Rwandan genocide.
Yeah.
And she was rescued by this woman who's a lawyer, who's a international justice lawyer.
Human rights lawyer?
Human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
And it's about that entire story and that entire journey. And it is phenomenal. So do yourself a favor and go and watch Black Earth Rising. It's also based on a book. So, and it also stars John Goodman.
Okay. God love him. So good. Another very
and he gets
underrated guy.
Women in this show. I highly rate it. And when I was watching, it's a limited series. I think there's only about 8 episodes. But when I was watching it, oh my God, I just felt like I really needed to say it. I know we weren't going to do recommendations.
No, that's cool.
That blew me away.
Well, I don't know what that was. I inhaled my fucking that thing that dangles the back of my throat there.
The dangly thing.
Yeah, that thing, the punching bag. If that's going to be your recommendation, my recommendation, so I've nearly watched all of the Best Picture nominees. I only have 2 left now.
Okay.
My recommendation for if you're ready to be depressed AF, more than you normally are, stressed and depressed, is All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh.
So that is the World War I film of last year. It is all in German. It's on Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix. This is a 10 out of 10. This is a flawless film. It's an anti-war film, which means that it's basically going to make you realize why this should never happen ever in the history of humans to anybody. Oh my God. I woke up this morning out of my sleep thinking about it, and I watched it 2 or 3 days ago.
Yes.
It's incredible. So disturbing and heartbreaking. The acting, oofed. Honestly, I think of this year's nominees, if I could genuinely be the one to pick the winner, I'd give it to All Quiet on the Western Front. It was freaking good.
Okay.
And I loved Elvis. Elvis was my favorite film of last year. I'd still probably go and give Best Picture to All Quiet on the Western Front. But yeah, that would be my recommendation for this week.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I also want to say, I also want to thank everyone else for coming on this journey with us, from, sexual awakening to style to, Brenaissance
to
teens.
Yeah, teens. All of the teens. It's been a ride.
Teens.
What a great
we're a couple of ads.
We are. We are. We're not just about that pop culture life.
The absolute main characters. Hello, welcome to the main character podcast. No, welcome to the Laughing Skulls, the main characters of this pod.
You tried. Yeah. You tried. It's okay. You tried.
Do you know what? This is why we have a 98% listen through rate, because it just gets chaotic by the end.
Honestly, our goodbyes are really chaotic.
They're really long. It's like when you're really tired and you're like talking shit.
You're at the sleepover and you're like, they're trying to keep talking and you're
what's your favorite
fall asleep.
Do you like mud cake?
We are gonna need to come up with a goodbye.
We really are.
We have to. It's gonna save us and everyone else a lot of pain.
Yes.
So
you know what I want to do though?
What?
I want to do an episode that's got to do with eating. I think that we should. You and I, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do a mukbang, but I really want to do a mukbang where you and I just go. Sorry, team. on like some noodles, on like some wicked wings or some shit.
Sure. We'll do that. I still want to do the hot ones challenge with you.
Yeah, I think I would die, and I think that it would be wonderful content.
I'll do slightly better than you, but I'll still die.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, well, we'll see everyone next week. We love you, and happy awards season.
Happy awards season. Take care, and thanks for listening to the pod.
All right, that was episode 33.
33?